Welcome back to the Word. Today we continue on our building a book from scratch, and we've been going through Martyr's Mirror. There's some items I would like to show you, some things that I saw after I got offline and stopped the video and things, and we're going to kind of do a comparison of the corrections, kind of bring you up to speed as to where we are at. I'm going to go ahead and jump down to a specific topic here. The topic is, we'll see in here in the Word, summary of the following work. Okay, so back into the Word, we're going to jump down to summary of the following work. If I was to put in of the following work, at this particular point, it may be found, but it would not be what we want. I'm pressing find or F3, so I'd have to hit ignore case unless I went to exactly all uppercase like that. Okay, so one of the things that has happened is that I recommended the other day, well, basically I said the other day, let's, try a link instead of a topic introduction. So, or a topic rather. So I said recommended a link. So let's see what that looks like in the Word. So over here is our first version of how we went through that. Union titles looks fine. Content, translator's preface, invocation, and then you have preface here. But if you get down here into summary of the following work, look at all these links. What you're going to find out is it's going to slow down the Word because it is a ginormous topic. Just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. We need to divide that topic out like I've done over here. The other, and I'll show you another complication that I ran into, or a problem that I ran into. So I've divided it out into these following subtopics. And then further, can be further divided out, and we're going to get into needing to divide out right here. Second confession, third confession, all these should be grouped under this. And then there's another one up in here, I believe. First confession right here. And these should be grouped under there. Okay, so those are a couple of the items. So what I did to fix this, I'm going to open this up so you can see a little bit. Here was the first version. Looks something like this and goes through, and that was fine. But notice here we had link, which is okay, and then another link. It should have been a double link, meaning it should have had something like 2 TW to break them down into the subtopics correctly. But as you remember, that didn't actually solve our problem. So I went over here into this other version, and I went through and added in just like this. These areas here, and then 2 of these to go to second level, and then 3 of these to go to the third level. Okay, so we've done how we needed to switch that. Next, so the main thing here is H2 is basically the primary topics. H1, it's done once. It's technically these are headings, not necessarily always topics, but that's a good assumption in this scenario. And so H2 is our first primary topic. H3 should be our sub-level, one level down. H4 should be our 1, 2, 3, third level down. And I did take another program to see if there was another like H5, H6, and there's actually not. So we could actually take out the H5 here. Remember though, it's not being used at all anyway. So we're going to go in here and remove all this. Okay, so nextly, we did that. But I ran into another problem. So going in here, and I haven't got it completely fixed here, we'll go into summary here. Look at what happens as this work comprises, and I'll just let you follow my carrot here, 2 books, each of them containing, notice there should be a space here. What's going on? Is it bad data? What's going on? Well, let's open it up in the same file, summary of the following work, in here. Now, each of them containing, there is a space in there. Okay, so it's not bad data. What do we need to do? Let's go in further. Let's go back to our data here. Now, when I went in, when we took out the returns, so let's go into the file so we can look at the returns. So summary of the following data. We'll get in here a little bit and you'll see some. There is no space, it's just a return. Now, an HTML engine often, okay, we're just going to throw a space in there. So, but because it needs one apparently. This one doesn't have a space. When we went in, and I'm going to close this file, we're no longer using it. and took out the returns or the carriage line return / new line, we just put them back in without any space. Well, that's okay. Sometimes that's okay. And that was in the headings and also in the paragraphs. Well, let's add in a space. But what if there is actually a space? Because sometimes that does happen. Then we need to add in remove extra space. So if there's a space, and then the plus in the regex means even more, convert it down to just one. And so that'll help us as we import. Let's try that out. Let's go in here, go File, New. We're just doing a quick. And I know this is the file number 5. I'll turn off detect references just to speed our in. The regex rule engine and the detect engine up. We are going to go in, and I'm going to find, 1 second, I need to get into my, load the new regex rules that I've been working on. And by the way, I'm working on including this demo in the examples folder. It'll be under Martyr's Mirror, and you should be able to then proceed and kind of work through it at your own pace, kind of duplicating and wrestling with it yourself. So as we go back in here, we're going to go to the 5th file. So I'm going to show you here what I'm working on. Go down to number 5. Let it go in. Go up to where it says summary of them contained. So now we have a space in there like we need. Excellent. Okay, the other problem that I ran across, and there was a few items, so we got to explain. Now I've made a note of to do, footnotes, page numbers, and index. So page numbers, let's get in there. We want to convert page numbers into a bookmark. Okay. What we like to have them look like is bracket P number arrow. Sometimes, or if they need to be, they could be number P number, depending on which side of the page it is. Okay. So in here, inside the, and I've done a little bit of pre-looking, you'll scroll down through the HTML, and there's a special indicator that they put in, and it looks just like this, called page. Now I'm going to jump down here. I'll copy it in, and what will happen is it'll look something like this. You notice I'm working now not in the regex editor, which you're welcome to use. I just use EditPad Pro, just because it's quicker for me to work on the regex rules in there. We've got some special things that we've done. You can go either way. I recommend as you start out, use the regex editor. It'll save you from some common errors that happen. For example, if I did search space replace, well, space isn't going to cut it and you're going to get an error thrown. So so for ease of sake and kind of keeping us on the same page, we'll jump back in here into the regex editor just to keep it back into you. But you could of course build these regex rules in another thing like Notepad++ or EditPad Pro. And let's go into the regex editor. Go in, open. I would leave format regex rules on. It kind of gives you a color coding of what's going down. And we want to be on this one. Break it down as it loads it. And down in here, so we got our to-dos. We got page numbers. So, and we said we wanted them to look like this. So going down and put it in like this. Okay, so here's our page number. We're going to go ahead and select this. Notice sometimes the coloring will stay along with it. If you don't like that, you can hit update format and it'll fix that for you. Okay, so we want to keep that page. This should be we're getting the number out of that. Not always we don't know if we're going to have all this information on every occurrence, and we don't necessarily need it on every occurrence. So I'm going to just do it like that, and that should give us what we need out of here. Now, we need to remember I said we want it to look a certain way. So we want it to look like this, P, and then the number that we got. Okay, so that'll look not too bad, but we want it to be superscripted and green. So then we come in here, font color equals green, and this is just a super simple, super simple HTML code. Nice. Sometimes that just works out nice. And then soup, and then soup back slash. And let's see what has happened now. We'll go in, go back in, make sure to save it, of course. If you can Control S or go up to there, go in, and yeah, just ignore that. Go into File, Open, New Special Open. Go into number 5 again. Let's jump over there. A couple copies open, just what we're doing, and number 5. Now we're going to see if we have a page number, like right there. So page 19. So, and then you go up here, go up a little further, page 16. So I want to do a little verifying. Now this is not always possible. If you have the PDF, a lot of times you can look in and be like, oh, okay, this is actually this page. Or you can take a print version. Now it does depend. Remember, this is the EPUB version. So I'm going to jump to page 19 because I have that open before me. And okay, here's page 19. Let's do a little bit of checking out. I don't think you can see it as much, but okay. So it says moreover at first. So the question is the page number on the top or the bottom, and is it the same as the print I have? So let's go up to statement in regard to the old work. Well, I do see that there. As we have let's, another way, since that doesn't seem to line up the same print wise, is to go in here, open up your table of contents. We looked at that earlier. See if I got that in the right one. No, that's not table of contents. There we are. Publisher's preface should be page 3. And vocation, page 5. So let's see, what do we have on ours? Summary of the following work should be, oops. Summary of the following work. First part. Don't see that right off. Okay, so let's go. Oh, here's page 20 of the Church of God. Okay, so let's try opening the next one. Well, we had 19. Okay, so we're going to page 20. I believe that should be on the next page. So let's open up section 6. It should be on page 20. And if we did it right, so HTML page 6, it should be, that means the arrow should be, well, I don't know if you can see which direction, basically thinking if I was to look at my video, it should be that way. Okay, let's see here though. I'm going in, it says, of the true Church of God, its origin, progress, and okay through all times. So let's go there, of the true Church of God. Go back into our of the true Church of God, and that should be on page 20. That looks right. So page 20, and scroll down. So this is on 20, remember, and you should have also a page 21. So we're going to look for the following code, P21. We'll go to the top here, and if I go down, there it is, page 21. Excellent. So we got our page numbers pointing in the right direction. Let's see, do we have, they do not appear to be superscripted. So I believe I put in the wrong HTML code. Hey, these things happen. It's a learning process. And so let's go see what we got here. I said soup. Okay, we're just learning as we go. let's go Google HTML code or superscript. It is the soup tag, but what is wrong? Maybe we need it outside the font. So we'll go in here, put it on the outside. Maybe I have it wrong a little bit. There's other ways to superscript too. And let's save that. Go into book editor. No. Let's go back to, we'll open the 5th one again. And we're going to actually need to add in some bookmarks to be able to work with those a little more too. Oops. Well, looks like the word got mad a little bit. We'll just pop it back open. Let's reload this guy. Okay, and we will need to pull in a bookmark, as I said, which is going to make sense later on. Let's just deal with one step at a time. Okay, going in here. Sorry, I have several versions of this open, so. Okay. Still having some. Let's look at it. It says 8. That's interesting. Jump down to 8, which that's fine. But it really should look more like this. See how small that is? Okay. Well. Okay. Let's go back out to Regex editor. And now remember what I said. Earlier in one of the videos, there are different types of HTML that is supported. It's possible that superscript is done a little bit differently in here. So for our sake, for right now, we're going to take the superscript out and maybe come back to that later. So we'll leave that under our to-do list. Okay, superscript page numbers. Next item on the list. We need to make some bookmarks since we're already working on the page. And let's jump over to what does a bookmark look like. Actually, you can find that right here under Help, New Special Open. Special tags, jump down here. We want a bookmark link. We're just going to copy this out, get us a little bit of our information. Put that in. Okay. Now, so a bookmark. You do not want to duplicate the bookmark. We're going to do P for page, and we're going to tie in the bookmark right after the page number. So became TW P, same number, became TW. Okay, it's right there. And we want to keep that bookmark in there. This will be used later when we work on the index. That'll make sense. Okay. And if you wanted a more unique bookmark name, you could do that as well. You could do page, pages. P should be sufficient for our use. Okay. Save that. Go to book editor. Hit file, book, special open. Sometimes it's a good idea to give them different colors, just so you know, like, hey, this is a bookmark. The bookmark color won't stay, the page one will, and that's a normal for us. So I have page,
I've got it in here, and BKM. I would like to make it a little bit more observable for me what's a bookmark. I like the just to keep it visual for me. And so to do that, I'm going to go in here, go in, and I'm going to add in font color equal purple, just to set it aside from the page number. Okay, so there's that. That'll keep it in there. Bookmarks become a bookmark. It's a special feature in Rich View, which we're using, and then it's used in the Word. So we got page number with bookmark, no superscript at this point. We have footnotes and index. So one we're going to do is let's go to the index page. So you'll scroll down almost right next to the bottom. There's a couple items we would probably do not need the last page on here. So you could probably do something like ignore, because that's just a comment by the Gutenberg.org. Let's go into here. This is also a transcriber's notes. They went through and did some corrections in the index, etc. That's another we could ignore. They don't benefit the book as we bring it into the Word. Let's go in here. We have these are that's the end of the footnotes. So we'll go all the way up here to, I believe it's 19. We're just going to give it a little bit of a help for us. So now we know that's where the start of the footnotes are. We're going to need to link into these and work with some bookmarks here as well. Now, what about our index? Nope. Okay, it explains a little bit about the index. Continuing back up. Whoop, wrong one, sorry. 14. 13 index. So that starts there. Go in here. Index. Okay, so these give us a little bit of our helps. Let's look at that index page a little bit. I'm going to close some of these guys down. So index is there, and then you have some different things. You see this A, and then you have a page number and a page number. So we want these page numbers to link to those bookmarks we just made. Okay. The other thing is we would like this AA to become a subtopic. I believe right now, if we were to look in the Word, what we have is down here's index, and this says footnotes, which is technically should be a different one too. Anyway, so footnotes. Let's make sure we got a correction on that. Footnotes, link, and topic. Okay, so we'll save that. And then let's make sure when we go into our book, our editor, let's reload that just a second. So we should have right here, link and topic. Okay. Jumping down now, we need to go into our index file and look at it. So we'll try editpad++ and look in here. So we have first off, okay, we got this little guy right here. A page internal. Let's go, we'll put that note in here. Going in, so index, letters, top. So that's that one. Let's jump down to another one. Let's jump down to D. We want to see if they are always the same or different. Here's D. Okay, so it seems to be, oh, I noticed something here.
got a span class around it also. So going back into here, oh, I must have, okay, yep. So used to that, I need to go ahead and close this one probably in a second. Let me put it over here for a second. Going back into back into Notepad++, letter A, get that span class alpha. That's a little help for us. Okay, one more time, I need to reload. Okay, and then we'll go in here into the Regex editor and reload it. So we made some changes outside and we just need to build it back in. Okay, coming down. Okay, so we can see you have an IXA, IXD. Got some interesting things here. PG internal, PG internal. The question is like, could we get away just using just the PG internal? Here's how you check that. If you have Notepad++, I'll show you. This is one of the reasons I like it. Pull it open. Okay, so we are going to find, and remember we're looking for PG internal, and we do as normal, all documents. What our goal is, it's 114. So what is 114? 114 is the start of our index, okay? And how far down does it go? Through 122. Interesting. So it is used elsewhere. It's used in the footnotes, but it's not, the class is labeled PG internal. This is class PG internal. So if you remember that, that could be a good way. This one actually down here, I would use ID footnote for that. We're going to just copy that note real quick and put a little note in here, because we will have to get to footnotes. So we're doing a little bit of research along the way. Okay, so that's in there. Going back in. Yeah, you can see all those footnotes in there. It has a footnote class and it has that. Okay, so that's, we're going to dig into that later. Let's close out or minimize Notepad++. Now, we want to make these into, okay, so index is the primary topic, so it should have a double. It should go like this, double. Very good. So that'll be our subtopic. It'll be a subtopic of index for the letters. Now we need to pull in. We could leave the span class alpha. Let's just leave that alone. Let's go in here to the link itself. So now in here, oh, it does have this ID. Take that. Also would be another possible way to do it. Let's go in here, and it has an href. We don't really care about what's in it. We just want it to go up to, for this usage, we don't care about what's in it. If it's something, you know, there could be a sometimes you need that. And let's do a star just to give it carefulness. And then go in here. It should be a letter. So we're going to make it a little safer this time. Yeah. It always concerns me that it's not going to get it all, but so we'll go this way. Get as much as we can of it. and that should be S1. Now note, you'll note here in the dictionary, let's go to the okay, it's on its own line, so to speak. So it's already should be in a paragraph, so we shouldn't need to do that. That line marker will kind of determines that. Go back in, oops, not there, right here. And if you were to go back into the file of that, let's go up here to A, it'll have a bracket, yeah, and here's a paragraph marker. So okay, so we don't need a paragraph marker. So, but we do want this in bold, and we want it to end because there's that line after it, and we do not want that line to be part of our topic. Okay, let's try that out. Let's go into book editor. And go to index. We're going to do the first and second of index just to make sure it looks correct. So meaning first and second would be 13 and 14. So we got index here, index there, and do not have that correctly. So it's missing something. I've not gotten that one in right. Go back into Regex editor. Go down. Okay. Update format just to get it up to speed. And here's what you can do. You go in and you just, there must be something. I missed that right there, class. You can, a couple ways to check this out is turn on that edit file, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. So go save. We'll see what it looks like. For now, I just want to know simply, did it actually match that rule? You just turn that on. Open up the index and the next one after the index file. You can of course, see it visually. And there we go. Okay, so it did. So index is 3. Is index 3. So go back into the Word. Index should be 1. Okay, so then we just go back in here. We look at where is the index file. Let's go ahead and open that one up. By the way, I could look at these matches file and tell you real quick here. And you can go down here and look through here, and it says this right here, which we just made, PG internal, it has 1 match. So if that has 1 match and that's 2, then the 3 is not from this rule. So that's helpful information. That must mean, well, I guess no, let's double check. Let's look back at our results here. 2 here. Okay. And go back into our here. File all. It at least matches 1 time. I'm trying to remember how this matches folder works. Oh, yes. It matches 1 time in that file, but what about in file 114? 445 times. Okay, so way too many times. It should have been maybe 2 or 3. So, okay, so that brings us back down. We cannot use just PG internal because that has the page number also. We'll probably use that for something else. Okay, so now we come back. Let's think about this again. We could use the span class alpha. That would be a good one. We could also use the IDIX. What is this one? Is this a common? Is this used throughout? So search, find, open. It is only on this. That would be a great one to use. So let's copy. We got that already copied in here. Go into our Regex editor. Scroll down to where we were at. And we're going to put this one right back in. Put him in. And since it is in there, it's going to go, it should be just a single letter like that. And that should be it. That should now narrow it down to what we have. Go back into our book editor. No. Because remember, we are not wanting to get all those special. We don't want all the page numbers to have that. Going back in. And selecting these two. Okay, so now we have just we have a link in here that we don't need. That's okay for now. And so we go down here. Interestingly enough, they kind of have an offset method that they like to use, these quotation marks. You got your B is correct. Very good. Now we got a page number down in here. Okay, very good. And so on. So there we go. So that kind of brings those in. Now we'll have a proper topic for the index file. That'll be a double. So that'll be great. Now, continuing back, what was some of our other goals? Let's go into the Regex editor. So we got our index. Remember, we are not done though. Go down in here. And if you wanted to make it a little bit easier for yourself, go something like index and it goes out like that. If you wanted to do page numbers, this is just a good way to kind of divide. Okay, very good. Now, okay, so next we need to link to page numbers. Link to page numbers. So one of the ways we do this is we got to get rid of the links that are already existing in there and replace them with what we want. So going in, we have a file open here. And we only need this right here. Okay, and that should give us enough information. You can kind of look at them. One of the keys right here is number page 332. And so go in. This may be something that will be a link that is converted throughout the entire module. I mean, resource. So, okay, so go in. And we need to just ignore all this because we don't need to worry about all that. Okay, so we don't have to have all this in here up to the number sign. There will be a number here. We want that one. Okay, and actually we don't need to have that. Yes, we will. We're going to maybe use it for something else. And here we're going to go up to it like that. And then let's do it like this. Okay, so now we have our page number. We need to link now to our page numbers throughout the bookmarks. Okay, so to do links to the bookmarks, go into your new special open, and you have that this self one right here. Okay, that'll link us back. So self is one that links to topics or bookmarks. So we're going to give ourselves a we're going to put that startup in here. So Remember, the bookmark was actually E. So that's getting us there. But we have, yeah, this is not linking to a topic. If it was a topic, you just put the topic name in here and great. But we're linking to a bookmark in a topic or a bookmark in a link. Since we don't really know what link and what topic, we're going to have to use a special format to cause that to happen. Go into the book editor. And in the book editor itself, you'll have topic. And we want to look across there, and you will see one that is bookmark text. You see how it has a number sign in front of it? If you don't want the pop-up, you can change that. So, but we need the number sign in front of it. So, go back in here. Number sign. We can get a little bit more help under special open. If you go down, you got your just thinking through here. Oh, these are the bookmark ones. Link inside a book. So self, and this is what we have here. The keep words, we could do that, and we do need to do the keep words because it is the numbers. So let's go. That's one. Okay, we do not really want to change the font color right here, simply because this should just stay black. It will get its own font color. It doesn't really matter. So since it doesn't really matter, let's do change it. Color equals orange. This will give us a nice, tasty way to look at it, and we'll know pretty quick what it's going on. We can see it in there. Go back into that help folder. Special open. So in the link inside the same book, topic or bookmark you will link to. And we're going to go to, we already did the number. Okay, and I do want it open. If you did want to do this up, you could do that again. Try that out. It's not something we really want on this because it's a page number. So file, save, bookmark editor, book editor, and let's try out a index. Let's see if we at least got it to recognize it. I'm gonna turn these off. Actually, I don't want the matches on for this. All right, turn those back off. They can be helpful. The edit file can be very helpful, especially if you got to make some micro changes here and there. So continuing on. Loading. Okay, you see that orange tells us exactly. By the way, remember that orange will be ignored, but it's going to be, the reason I put it in an orange instead of a purple is to make it so I can see it later. And for example, there may be other scenarios where that actually is going on. Page numbers, for example. I will give you an example right off. So file, open, book. This is just a theory. And the theory is it in here? There it is. It is inside the table of contents. Remember, we're not going to keep the whole table of contents probably. But it also did express an error. So 1081 in the table of contents. Let's go look at that. I'm going to just open this up in EditPad Pro. Load that. Let's go down to, it says 1081. So let's see what that is. We're going to just see if there's a variation, because sometimes you'll have a variation. That is not the one we want to be in. Okay, 1081. So there is a difference in this one. Go in here. And we'll go back into our Regex editor. And I will put it down in here and you will see why it is not working. In this scenario, it is not a page, but it is an index. So we can do a couple ways we can do this. We can jump into something like this and go like that. However, not really going to work out for us because it's actually a topic that is getting put in. So, because it's actually linking to the index. So that's not going to help out. What do we need to do cause it to link to the index? Well, we're not using the table of contents. So right now, we're going to ignore that. We're going to go into here. We're going to ignore because not using table of contents. So if we're not using the table of contents, then what do we need to do to get rid of it? Okay, so we've got our footnotes, link, no, we got our superscript. I'll do that later. So save here. What makes the table of contents? Let's close this guy, close this guy. This is the table of content. It starts with a div, it looks like. And the odd thing about this particular table of contents is it's not only a table of contents, it's actually a table of contents with information. Since it's like that, you know what? Maybe we just leave it in here. But then that means what? We need to solve our table of contents problem. Okay, so let's solve it. That's part of building the book. Yeah, it's very, very unique to each book, and it can get complicated. But that's where you're at, and that's what your job is. So we're going to go page internal, and this one we're going to go down into a separate one. It needs to have a number like that. So page internal, whatever that is, orange, we're going to keep it at this one. We're going to just do it as a topic and try it out. Okay. And this one, since we are not 100% certain, let's just do I don't know what it's going to exactly do, and I want to be able to look at it a little easier because there may be other variations of this that we're going to need to correct. So let's go in here. Number one. So we left it on index there. And we're going to look at help just to double check that we have it correct. Yeah, it would look like something like that. So pop up. Okay. Look over here under. Yeah, just a topic. Just going to leave it alone. Okay. So we have that. And that's built in. Okay. We're coming along. Let's go to Regex editor again. We got a few other to-do items that we want to wrestle through. Footnotes, links, and topics. Oh, these ones are going to be fun. So let's go down to footnotes. Links and topics. So that means we have a footnote at the bottom. So this is footnote text. And then there's a footnote link. Okay, so the footnote link is a little bit harder. So the way you can find that is just go in. We'll just go back into here, go back into book editor. So let's go into the Regex editor. I'm going to save that because I missed that. Control S. Okay, book editor. And in here, we're going to open number 5. Number 5 kind of gets us in there a little bit, and I know it has some, it should have, there we are. And it has some links to footnotes. Okay, so we'll need to get the HTML going in here. Let's see, where's the first one? 17. 17, okay. So open up that file. And we're looking for, this is going to be tricky because we do not want the page number, we want the footnote. So footnote, jump down. There we are, footnote. Okay, grab that footnote out. Now these can be tricky in the sense of there can be variations, kind of like we found out with the page numbers. We'll start with a basic one though. And this should be this is on the link side. And this is the text side. So this is the anchor and this is the text. Okay, dokie. Okay, and it looks like that ID is going to be what we want to use. So we come along. If we'll actually keep that class also, that could be helpful for us. And this we'll just ignore because we're going to use this anchor number. And honestly, it should be fine to just use right here. Okay, so that number is going to be important. So we have, here's this, there's the interesting thing about this. Okay, so this is a link, and then in the text side, you need a bookmark to get to it. Just like we did with the page markers, now we want to jump down to the bookmark. Okay, so we have it here. And this is going to be a link. So self, TW, and we're going to just go footnote, E, okay, self, TW. Now remember, we said it's a link to a bookmark. So we're putting it in as a bookmark. That number sign will help us out. This one has a special thing with it, though. I'll take some time to explain it. Go into help. We want it to end, and these are the self links with their variations. We want it to, we don't want to get all the bookmark, all the footnotes. We only want up to a certain spot. So it will need to have, and if you look right here, that the dash at the end is special. It means the pop-up will show from this bookmark to the next bookmark if you want. You need to have, and even if you don't do pop-up numbers, so you can do like that, and that's we don't need to do the and sign or ampersand sign. We need to do the bookmark side of it. So we need one more thing. We need this little dash. Okay. Now, so this will go from one bookmark to the next bookmark. What's helpful, and this is where it gets a little tricky. You have to think through your mind. In the footnote text, I want to include the number because I want it from one bookmark to the next bookmark. If you don't have the number, then people kind of miss out on that. So we have our self, and what would we like to do for footnote color? This font color equals brown. This is the link side. Remember, it doesn't really matter because it's a self. It'll get changed to a blue later on. And now let's go to the text side. You put this guy in there. And this one, we'll leave that label PG internal. Do we really care about the anchor? No. and that's for a different purpose. Well, we can do two things here. We could create the number with the link and have a bookmark. What that will do then is it can jump back up to the page if you want it to. And so then that means that the page, I'm sorry, not the page, the footnote text, where the footnote originates at. So to do that, then we need to add in a bookmark here, right after or right before, and you go BKM, EW, and let's do this one. And remember, we did a, I believe it was, what color did we do that? Purple. We just do our bookmarks that way. That way we can kind of color. Remember that it's a bookmark also. So there's some things that you'll have to kind of think through. Okay, so bookmark. Now, what do we want to do? What's the bookmark should not be the same on here as in the text. So let's say this is the, what did we say? This is the link. So font, footnote link, and then you want the number. Okay, so footnote link. And then this one we want to go to footnote text. So footnote link, footnote text. And we'll do that to kind of keep it separate in our mind. Okay, now jumping down, back down in here, we will go, and we do not need really, because we got the anchor here, and we're using the anchor on the other one. So go in here, clear this information out. You want to do a plus because it's going to be a bigger one. Okay, now we're going to duplicate this information, but we got to make some important changes to it. I'm going to update the format, just keeps it easier for me to visually see. Scroll back down. Okay, PJ. Okay, so we got this guy, we got that. Similar. Only one grouping. Okay, so this one needs to have the FT. Remember we said it goes to the footnotes text. We want that footnote text to go to right here. Okay, and then this one, the link it has, should go up to it. One of the things I would like to try again is put back in soup. I might have to dig into why superscript didn't want to work out. That's not something you have to worry about as much, but something I do. Should be okay. Okay. Now book editor. We're going to test out on page 5 we need to test out. Did I save it? Let's double check. Control S. Go into the book editor side and open it up. You can see that 17 really close to the top, so that shouldn't be too bad. It's right there. So it chopped off. Why did it chop off? That means I'm missing something. Okay, so we got FL17. Go back in here into the Regex editor. So if it's a problem here, it'll be the problem in the bottom in the footnote text. So going back in here. Oh, right there. I did that this time. Okay, save. Book editor again. And these are just things you'll just wrestle with if you get a bad regex or things like that. Usually you can visually see it. If you can't, you can do some other ways, the edit file and things like that. That's what makes building books takes a while. I noticed something. Do you notice it? So the bookmark's right. That's not right. I did put S1. Okay, go back in, Regex editor. Jump back down. Also, there's a bigger issue. S1. S1. That is the bigger issue is we have a bold that must be getting cut up or changed. Swoop. Save it. Oh, these ones get a little trickier to solve. There seems to be a bold that just keeps going to town. So let's try this. That's usually the result of an open tag, meaning you got the start but not the end. Well, or a problem like I had. Okay. And oops, got that plus in there, not needed. We'll go back in. So bit by bit, fixing and sorting through these problems. I'm sure you won't have to deal with them as much, but you know, when they come up, you just wrestle through them. Okay, save that. Now, let's go in, check out what does our index page, footnote page look like. Jumping all the way down to footnotes, you can get a couple of them. You notice I'm not doing the reverse detection every time. That would be the goal in the end, but you do not want it to be there all the time. It slows down, and so we have the numbers are right. I don't want footnotes in under index. It should be on its own separate one, so we're going to do something special with that. We have the link here to self. We have the bookmark. We do have it under 8, but it's not jumping it up into the superscript like it needs to. We might have to switch over to a style. I will see about that here myself, because sometimes you just use a style and it works out okay. Right now, though, let's fix that footnote issue. To Regex editor, and wait, remember, let's reload this. Let's close these guys down. It's all current. Okay. One of the things here is if you remember, Regex rules are applied in sequence. Boom, 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 boom. So we need to, and this is, we'll go up here to the top of it. So it is an H3. We'll just copy that out. Go back in here. And we have our H3s done here, but it shouldn't be an H. We don't want it to render as an H3 in a sense. We want to do it as a H2. Well, so to speak, yeah, we could just do that, and that would be another way to do it. There's a couple different ways. We could just edit it directly and say, oh no, we want to keep the font style the same, so it doesn't really matter. What I could do is even just do boom, boom, and just replace it with the 2. As long as you remember, and then turn Regex off because it's just a straight over. As long as you remember what you've done in your series, like if you change H2 later, you weren't well, then you might need to wrestle with that. So let's go back in here. I want footnotes on its own. Oh, I got a problem in there. Footnote line. Okay, let's go back into the Regex editor. Told me I had a problem with the file. Right here it is. Didn't put a comment. Then comment that out. Go back into the book editor. And the Regex rules tries to warn you if you have a problem to deal with some of those things. Be down here. Footnotes. Okay, go back up. And there we are. Now it's just a single, which is excellent. Okay. Oh, we've made a lot of progress, but what does it look like in the end, and how does it build? And why do we have a superscript issue? That's something I'm gonna look into. So let's go into loading all these up. We're just gonna do a fast build on this one without the verse detection on, or fast import. Go in here, here. While that's working, I want to load this file. And we still have this first, second confession to fix superscript. Not working right. It doesn't seem to be working right. Is it that it's not working right, or is it that there is a CSS issue? Let's go in here. Soup. That's what it is. They've changed the superscript. They've vertically aligned it to baseline. Well, that's not helpful for us. Let's double check and see if it's over in this file. Jump down, see if it, nope, it's only in the 0. Okay. And I'm going to make a small adjustment here. And this would be original. Like fried chicken? No. Just original. Okay. And we do not want to deal with that. So I am just going to go ahead and comment out this modification that they've done to sub. I'll leave in their ebook marker. I don't know what that needs to be, but the sub and super, actually, we don't really use sub very much, so I'll just do super like that. And now I'll stop there. The other thing is, as well, since it started building, we're going to hit escape. Don't think escape works on that. So if you ever need to stop TotheWord in the middle of everything going on, sometimes, unfortunately, you just have to use your task manager. It tries to have options for escape and things, but that's not always possible. Let's double check our, see if we got our superscript in here now, because I did put that in. Got your around here, you got your self link, you got that superscript. Okay, we got our page. Oh, that's right. I want to put this back in here on the page. So remember to check your CSS file out. That can do a lot of stuff. It's very helpful, very easy. Let's go in here. Let's just double check. We make sure we fix it. And I'm going to leave maybe that version 1 so you can kind of get an idea of, hey, you know, this is the improvements that were made along the way. Let's go to 5. You'll see it really fast. Boom. It's still not where we want it, is it? Okay, superscript, what is going on with you? Go back in. We have that 0 SS. That might mean there's a double. Okay, go jump down. Okay, let's take this guy up. Maybe it's this one. double check this one. I don't seem to see any there. So, okay. Going back in. Let's see what we get now. 5. See if that helps us out. Well, I'm going to have to wrestle with that superscript, I guess, later on. Let's go ahead and pull it together. We'll kind of hammer out a few other items maybe while we're at it. We won't implement them as of yet, but one of them that I saw, you can see it here, is, let's go ahead and close this. Let's actually take that one out. Okay, and it is in here. And I said it was on first confession. So first confession, I think I saw that earlier in the text. That is on. It's kind of tricky here. Ah, that's where you go over here, this guy. Just look up first confession on any of the files. And search. Find. So it is a it's a special one, FS140. And if we get into that class, actually just look for a search finding. Find all. Okay. So, small class. Let's try it like this then. Small class FS. Search. And finding all open documents. So at first confession, second confession of the second person accusation of the church. And I believe, yeah, those are all H4s that we would probably want as like another level of indentation. So we're going to do that like this. And we're going to try that out because there's a fifth. There's a lot to think about on this one. Let's go in here. We're going to look at these. Look for these, rather. Make the word smaller here. Okay. So we got the first confession should be over, definitely third. What about these 130s? Okay, so of the 10 bloody persecutions, yeah, and that should be under, that should be one more. Okay, and then the first persecution of the Christians. So let's go into that one first. Under Nero. Okay, so the first persecution of the Christians under Nero. That one is, yeah. Okay, so that will do it. And that'll bring those, so those 130s, the FS 140s and the FS 130s should be a 1 over. So now we need to take one of these, go back in while we're letting this kind of work away. I'm going to actually go back in here in this guy. And So I'll leave that open for now. See what else I got going down. And check out my superscript later on. Okay, so these H4s, we need to do them beforehand. And remember we said there's FS140s and FS130s. So go in here. We're going to get the second part here by itself. I see what I did. Okay, so this is fine. First portion's fine. That's good. Second, last portion's fine. I think we're going to put this one in here just to make it right. Okay, so, but this part, so okay, so we do want to keep that small caps. Okay, now we need to go into ours. Put these in before I forget. It's a little bit more complex when you're doing the rules separate from and to the word. So now we come over here, pull it over, same concept. Everything's the same except it has one more level. Okay. And one of the things that we mentioned was it's 140 or 130. A couple ways we could do that. We could just do 100. Or we could do like this too. There we go. Now we can save that. And it's still loading. That fix, though, would be wise to implement on your own. Since it hasn't got through it yet, I'm going to go ahead and stop it for now. And we're going to look at just that fix that we just did. That was on 6. Yeah. And we'll just go ahead and try that fix out for just that page. And then I'm going to rebuild it, and you'll get to see the final build. If you've been following along, it'll either be in the file, you'll get the book perhaps, or you might not get the book, but you can go ahead and see, and maybe in the second video you'll get to see that. So we'll see. But we want to double check that what we just updated. So make sure I got it right there. And it was on file number 6. If we did it right, First Confession, I believe, is the file name. I mean, the part we wanted. So Second Confession was here. First Confession was the Divine Service of the Church. What did we do here? So we got, First Confession, page 6. Let's just go down 3. 1, 2, 3. This is Creed, First Confession. It's still not correct. Is it that First Confession is not correct? Or is it that which follows is not correct? Oh, this is tricky. So now let's go down. confession. So first confession is correct. We do not want to change that. Of holy baptism. Well, these are some things that you'll get to wrestle with and sort out as you, like I'm doing right now, and saying, that that maybe that's what we want, maybe it's not what we want. Could be this right here. So yeah, we do not actually want of first confession as a full as farther over. It's everything under it until the next bigger one, which gives a little bit of a conundrum on how to solve. I'm going to actually leave you for that one to solve, but I'll try to show you what it looks like in the next video as I go farther along with this particular resource. Hope you've enjoyed this video and that it's been helpful for you. God bless. Bye-bye.